Hello there. Yeah, I'm playing Stalker 2. Probably well, you might have watched play Stalker EFP, I think it was called EFP. I like Stalker a lot. It's very quickly grown into one of my favorite series. Well, I picked up Stalker 2 and I've been really enjoying it. That being said, I kind of wanted to do a video that just like addresses my general experience with Stalker 2, either as a cautionary tale or as a glowing recommendation. You can take your pick on either of those. Overall, I've been having a very good time with it, and it will be a game I put a lot of time into, and I hope that it will become a foundation for some very decent overhaul mods in the future. But I kind of want to use this as a foundation for my own opinions in a way, to talk about a couple of things. But I also want to talk about Stalker 2 because it is actually just a very good game. That being said, sometimes you have problems like this. I'm about halfway through the game, I'd say, maybe not. There seems to be definitely a huge chunk of the map that I have just not been in, but I'm in Zaton, and I am trying to turn in a quest for my buddy Owl here at Skedovsk. This is a very known location in Stalker. It's been in previous games. I'm pretty sure it was in Pripyat, the game, not the location, but either way. And it's a well-known dead boat. I'm not sure the history of it, but the thing is, you can usually enter the steel bed and the doors automatically open in Stalker 2. At least sometimes they do. So I'm gonna start with, I've been having a lot of issues with Stalker 2. Just a lot of issues, either graphical issues, optimization and like performance issues, or gameplay issues. There have just been a lot of issues, but I've been powering through all of those because underneath all of that there is a very good game. Now, I've installed UE tools, and I highly recommend you do that as well, because at some point or another, there's going to be a problem like this where some kind of automatically opening door is not automatically opening and basically shutting you out from an entire town. Your man is dead. I did a quest for Owl. Now, I know that there's been like mixed reception for the English dubs in Stalker 2, and I have to say I actually quite like them. I know they're not accurate. I know everyone's basically, speaking Russian in Stalker 2. I believe that is correct. I might be wrong about that. I apologize if I am, but I believe they are speaking Russian, and a lot of people said just switch it to Russian with the English subtitles. I'm generally prone to doing this, but I have to say that when I started playing the game, I didn't hate the English dubs. In particular, I actually quite like the English voice actor for Skiff, the main character. I think he's actually very well done, and I actually really appreciate what he brings to the table. So I guess I just want to, voice my part of that discussion of, what, the English dubs are actually pretty good. It's not necessarily objectively better to just play it with English subtitles. It's really up to your taste. I didn't feel like it this time. I felt like I was enjoying my time without them. So I'm back from an excursion, and this is a lot of the experience of Stalker. This is something I learned from playing EFP, is inventory management in Stalker really just comes down to you loot everything that you think is worth anything, sell what you can, repair what you want. What I like to do is keep a gun of every bullet type, and what I really mean by that is there's a lot of different types of ammunition in Stalker. There's some overlap here, like this is 5.56 and this is 5.56. One is just high penetration, one is high penetration, it's just standard regular. So, but they both go into a 5.56 gun. So I collect everything. Obviously, one is more valuable than the other. I use the standard when I can, or if I think I'm going somewhere dangerous, I, crack out the high pen stuff. I'm not even sure what flat is, but I'm sure I'll find out later. I think it's probably better in some ways. I don't know. Armor piercing seems like it would be the best. And you want to make sure that you're, well below your encumbrance levels. I tend to throw all PDAs in there. They do sell, but something in me doesn't want to sell PDAs. They're kind of story fluff, and I'm not sure if they're going to be important later. I tend to leave with about 6 to 7 bandages because you tend to collect a lot, especially if you're me and you're collecting everything. And then I leave with about 10 med kits because, again, you do collect quite a few and you don't really need a lot. Artifacts are, you know, they're here, and I like them a lot. I think that artifacts are one of my favorite aspects of Stalker because they are just strange, and they're also a risk associated object. Most of them radiate you. I don't yet have the ability to stop them from irradiating, so what I have fortunately found is I found a bubble which is radio protection. So if I have one of those, then it cancels out the effect of a radiating artifact. And I tend to travel around with Spring, which is a weight encumbrance artifact. If I'm going into some like high risk combat, then I'll put on Crown because that's physical protection. It also increases my endurance. So, you know, artifacts are fun. You got to go and find a bunch of them. You got to, like, I've got one for basically every single type of resistance. So bleed resistance, chemical protection, thermal protection, and electrical protection. So basically, I've got one for every single anomaly type that I might go scrounging around in. We do have gun upgrades. Let's go have a look at that real quick. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of complaining about the cost when it comes to upgrading your guns, and we'll just look at that. You know, I obviously use my pistol less, however I do use it. I have to underline that the pistol is actually a very good gun. You just have to know when it's actually valuable. Shaw's Mate has been my kind of go-to because it's a fairly low caliber gun, but I just like the accuracy. I like the feel of it more than anything, although I've been thinking of switching to the Viper, which is a higher penetration. This one's actually quite low penetration, but you know, that's another 600-ish coupons to repair. Your vest is going to be the thing that you spend the most money, I think, repairing, because it's the thing taking the most damage. Then I've got my new shotgun. This is actually a fairly new shotgun. Very high pen, and it is also magazine type, which means that it can output a lot of bullets before I have to reload, which is quite nice. This is my new mask. This is actually a fairly low end of repair costs. It can go up to about 10,000 coupons. That's a lot. However, I will maintain that I think that the economy, I mean, it has been fixed in updates and bugs and stuff. It has been rebalanced, but I also think that even before that, it wasn't as bad as people were claiming. I think that you basically have to pick up any gun that isn't totally broken. Take quests, be very careful about taking damage if you can. Don't be shy about loading your save if you think that you could have performed a bit better. If you take less damage, you will have less repair costs.
Keep her in good shape.
Also, the thing about buying bullets is kind of, I'd say, is misplaced. You know, people talk about, whoa, whoops, that's me leaving ghost mode on. Don't worry, I'm going to turn that on in a sec anyway, because it's not going to let me leave. And then, yeah. So once you have UE tools installed, which is a very, very easy install, you can toggle or bind basically F to toggle between ghost mode and walk mode, and that means that you can walk through this door if it's permanently locked. Like I said, Stalker 2 has some issues. Here's the thing about buying bullets. You only have to buy bullets if you don't have any, and this is one of the reasons I hoard or like try to collect a gun for every bullet type, is because when you are fighting bandits, which you do a lot in this game, you are looting bandits and you're collecting ammo, and you know the cheapest ammo is the type you get for free. And yeah, I mean, it's not going to be the best, but you're also collecting, like, there's tons and tons and tons of little stalker stashes that you can go and explore. They're there for you to loot, and they're all going to have the better kind of ammo types. We can go and do one right now. Oh God, my cat knocking something over. Well, you know, we'll go get some better ammo from one of those stashes, or just explore a location. Uh-oh, what was that? Definitely hear something. I think I hear some mutants fighting each other, so I don't necessarily want to get involved in. Save. Well, they're fighting a... I don't have to get involved here, by the way. 100% don't have to get involved. This is maybe a good opportunity to show off how to fight two of these guys. Get a high pen gun is what I can say. I find that listening for them is actually better than trying to see them. And that's that. Get a high pen gun. Get a shotgun. Shotguns are one of my favorite guns. I think Stalker, the game, the series, does a very, very good job of representing shotguns in a way. I mean, they are fairly long distance for one thing. I know like games in general love to portray shotguns as being like 1 meter distance. Sorry, for my folks in the States, that would be, what is that? I don't know. 3 feet. Return mechanism sleeve tightener. This is a blueprint. Increase barrel okay, so yeah, you wanna explore these locations. You'll get new blueprints. Blueprints are useful for doing new certain upgrades. Your equipment is going to be gated at a certain point, and your technicians, no matter where you go, are not going to be able to do certain upgrades. But yeah, get a high pen shotgun. I really like this one since I can fire it multiple times before I have to reload. It's quite good. I was using a TOG before. I think it's called a TOG. These generally have some ammo in them. They can have some decent ammo in them. They can also have nothing in them. But yeah, get a gun of every bullet type. That's what I recommend. That and here's the trick, right? Even if you can't use it right away, throw it in your stash. The stashes are basically like, you know, some kind of, they're like an ender chest. They transfer to every single location that a stash is available, and then just like hoard bullets. And as soon as you start running out of bullets of one type, switch your gun to something else that you have a high bullet count for. You can certainly, if you want, buy bullets for the gun that you favor. I do that as well. I really like Shazme, and 556 is not super expensive, but you know, if you really are trying to keep things cheap, fight some bandits, steal everything. Steal anything that is damaged, like any guns that are damaged but not broken, they will generally sell. They won't sell for a lot, but if you come back with like 10 guns, then you'll start to make your money. And try to mitigate how much damage you're taking is what I can recommend. Even before the economy rebalance, I was doing okay for money. It really comes down to inventory management, hoarding. I think one of the things I really like about the Stalker world is that it actually encourages a hoarding type behavior. It is in a lot of ways a Fallout-ish type of game, you know, a Bethesda-ish kind of world, in that it is a first-person shooty RPG kind of game. The only difference, well, I mean, there's many differences. Obviously, I like the gunplay more in Stalker, so don't get it twisted. But there's not really a lot of there's no stats in Stalker. You don't have a shooter stat. You don't have a stealth stat. Those things are treated flatly, which I appreciate. But there is a progression in Stalker. You start with some very crappy armor. You eventually get some better armor. It's objectively better. Eventually you upgrade your armor so that you can carry more artifacts, and you find more artifacts. Those are all forms of progression in Stalker, and will see you performing better in combat. And because of the world is meant to feel very scrimp and save. You are very definitely meant to feel like these are expenses. When did I pick this up? This is an insane gun that I've picked up. Oh my god. Okay, and it's like almost fully upgraded. Good lord. This is clearly a place they've already been. I actually do have a recommendation for how you loot. I think this location, yeah, this is the one I'm thinking of, had a lot of dead bodies. A lot of zombie people were attacking me basically, and they all had guns. Like the Taz. It was the Taz I was thinking of, not the Tog. And you can end up with a lot of guns on the floor that you aren't going to take. So what I actually recommend is picking up everything. Every single body you interact with, just take all. And then as soon as you're like very encumbered, the next body you interact with, just pick up everything, dump all of the guns that have this red one, put it in the dead body inventory, and that way you actually clear up a lot of the guns that you're not going to end up taking. and that way you very easily sort through everything, and it's a lot quicker and faster than the alternative method, which is, you know, picking up a gun, dropping it on the ground. Oh, there's a gun. Did I already look at that? Yes, you did. And now, you know, it's just as worthless as it was before. So I find that method makes sorting through a lot of loot very easy. I don't know how this got changed, but I also recommend a couple of things when it comes to your fast, like your quick consumables. I kind of don't like this system. Previously, Stalker relied on F1, 2, 3, 4 system for using quick consumables, and I preferred that, but we're stuck with this, and I have some recommendations. Put your cheap and crappy consumable on the first slot. So this is Q and this is E, right? Put your like bandages, the thing you get tons of that is like very renewable, on the quick slot. Put the expensive consumable on the long slot. That way you aren't accidentally consuming your expensive consumables like I tend to do. Look at that, there's 2 more bandages. So case in point, you get a lot more bandages than you do med kits. It's not to say the med kits aren't plentiful as well. They are super plentiful, but you know, there you go, there you have it. I want to get up there. I feel like that's where our stash is, but I'm not sure. Stalker 2 has a great sense of not just exploration, but almost like puzzle solving in how you know, discover some of your loot piles, and I actually really appreciate that. I wonder if I can get on the roof somehow. I wasn't gonna do any side quests. I wasn't really gonna do any story. I don't really want to spoil the story for anyone. I'm really enjoying the story. They've done some really interesting things with the zone and with the world building and with the different characters. Specifically, I've been really enjoying what they've been doing with the monolith, what they're up to. So it's some really good stuff, and honestly, if Stalker 2 wasn't so good, I would not bother with like trying to fix it. I know that it's been getting some flack from people, and I really don't understand why. Like, okay, you really like the Stalker universe. You don't have to play this one, I suppose. I'm not sure exactly what the complaints are. The gunplay is good. The mutants, the enemies are well designed. It's the same world you know and love in a lot of ways. Some things have changed. If nothing changed, it would be the same experience as the last Stalker game. I think my only complaint with Stalker 2, and I did want to talk about this in this video a little bit, is in its fidelity. Its graphical fidelity, more specifically. Is that my own jacket, or is that a new jacket? Interesting. So this is the one I'm wearing. I just got myself a sunrise suit. Clearly my suit is better. I don't have any side protection yet, but this one has how many slots? 2 artifact slots. Why is it saying that mine only has 2 slots? Mine has 3 now. I don't know. I'm stuck in this wall. I'm really gonna have to find a new key to bind, because F is really not doing it for me. I questioned F even as I was doing it. Looks like there's an enemy over there. Kind of want to get over here. How am I gonna do that? That's gonna be tricky. I wonder if there's another angle I can approach from. Aha, yes. Ugh, all my my work for an energy drink, and I guess some buckshot, so I'll take it. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about fidelity in our new AAA landscape. I know I'm not the first to mention this, and I'm not gonna be the last, but we're at the point with AAA games where it takes an army to produce them, and it also takes an eon. It takes like a decade almost now to make one of these games. I don't know how long Stalker 2 has been worked on. I can't speak definitively on that, and obviously the circumstances in which Stalker 2 has been worked on are difficult. I understand that the devs have been going through quite a lot. I mean, they're basically developing a game in a country at war. I mean, like, I can't not mention that fact. They've been going through it while they've been making this game. Whatever you think of the war that's happening in Ukraine, it is happening, and some people who, you know, like, they're having to endure that one way or another. All of that kind of, it's kind of brutal. The fact that Stalker 2 works at all, I think, is kind of a miracle, and I do cut them a lot of slack. But one thing I would like to address is that I really wish that Stalker 2 actually didn't look as nice as it does. It relies on a lot of like new, I would say, I am not an authority on this at all, or I don't understand necessarily, but like it relies on a lot of shaders. It basically needs to be on an SSD, and these are bad guys, right? Oh, these are zombies. Oh, that was kind of nice. It's a very beautiful game, but I had a hell of a time getting it to work properly, and I know that a lot of people have also have been having a hard time about it. Make sure to unload all of those guns, by the way, when you pick them up. And see, I did a bad thing there. Is what I should be doing is picking those up, pick this up, pick that up, interact with this guy, and then you can just loot all. I don't plan on keeping that gun. Then just hit G on all of these guns. Yellow ones keep, the rest of them throw in the body, and that way they don't show up on the ground. I wish that Stalker 2 didn't look this beautiful. I wish that our AAA landscape relied more on a kind of a foundation of like lower fidelity, but I don't know, middle ground compromise. I'm very tired of hearing from like gamers TM about how something looks last gen, or how a game doesn't live up to their expectations because it doesn't have X, Y, and Z, function that exists in another game. A common complaint I see in a lot of for a lot of videos and trailers for games is, oh, how is this acceptable? We've already seen X game do this better, and I really want them to shut up. Like I can't put it more genteelly than that. I would love for people to understand that a game having a feature does not mean that the next game that comes out should have that feature. A game is an execution on an idea, and it's going to have the functions that are appropriate for that game. If a game has a feature, it doesn't mean that the next game that you play should have the same features, it's just not reasonable to expect something like that. In the same way that it wouldn't be acceptable, and a lot of other people have said this, it would not be acceptable to expect that Stalker 2 would have all of the features that you enjoyed about Stalker Gamma, or Stalker Anomaly, or Stalker EFP, a lot of survival and inventory management features. It would not be reasonable to expect those things. What my desire is that the AAA landscape would actually tone things back, because we're already hearing about a graphics card that literally takes in the power draw of an entire PC, is the length and size of an actual PC, and is like $2,000 to $3,000, and that just doesn't seem tenable to me. That seems just absurd. I don't think anyone needs a graphics card that large, and I don't think that any game should have the graphical fidelity to demand a graphics card like that. That's my complaint. And I know that that's probably also unreasonable in some ways. It's unreasonable to expect that we completely change the landscape from to my whim. I understand that, but at the same time, like, I've been struggling to play Stalker 2, and I would say that I have a pretty good machine now. Like, I built this machine for rendering video, so obviously the specs are not necessarily there to play Stalker 2. But I have a pretty I've got a 3000 series NVIDIA card, and I've got a really decent CPU, and I've been struggling to play this game, and I think part of that is because the expectations are out of line. Now, I mean, it's obviously not my call to make. It's the developers that made Stalker 2 to try to execute on their vision. So if they want to make a game that looks this good, then they are absolutely, it's up to them. But I do think that a lot of AAA games, there is this wild expectation that I just don't agree with anymore. I really am, as I've grow older, am really coming to that, you know, agreeing more in line with, I want, you know, games to be more expensive with worse graphics, and I want developers to get paid more, and I'm not kidding. And I think Stalker 2 is a great example of that. I want Stalker 2 to look worse, to be easier to run. I want the developers to get, you know, get their dues. The more expensive part, I mean, I don't know if I could have afforded to spend $100 on Stalker, but, you know, I still would have bought it, and I'm still enjoying it, so. But either way, as I draw close to my next story quest, although I haven't really accomplished anything in the game, I did get to talk a little bit about, you know, some of the complaints regarding this game. Are you guys? Oh, those are good guys. Still relying on my, put your cursor on a person and it'll tell you if they're a good guy or a bad guy. A life is working, so you'll see little skirmishes like this, and I kind of like that. I hope that Stalker 2 becomes a flatbed, a foundation for new overhaul mods, but I don't expect that. I'm not expecting that, because the fidelity of Stalker 2 has raised the bar to an extent that I think developing a mod for Stalker 2 is going to be a high demand. All right, we've got. Tell you what, I'll end this note on a let's go get ourselves an artifact. This is my obvious story quest, but I don't want to do that. Oh, ow, shit. I don't really sweat the damage anymore. But I'm in a position where I can afford to pay for it. Oh, we have one more. Oh, we've also got a bag here. Hold on. Grab that. I will say it's been very difficult to get my hands on a better detectors, but this one's quite good, and you can get it quite early if you are a piece of garbage, basically. Looks like I'm gonna need the fire protection. Fireball, is this one better? That's bleeding resistance, confusingly. There you go. We got the one ring. Let's have a look at it. The one ring to rule them all. I like that you can hold up an artifact and look at it. That's so fun to me. The artifacts are just such a cool concept to me. So what do we got? What does it do? Bleeding resistance and weight. I think I'll be selling that. I'd prefer to have an artifact that, you know, gives me 1 high benefit than 2 weak benefits. But I don't know. I suppose I could put it on. Anyway, I hope that no one takes what I'm saying personally, even though I mean, if you're complaining on trailers about how a game doesn't meet your expectations of next gen, I really want to let you know that I just don't respect that opinion at all. But outside of that, I don't think that anyone really, I don't think many of my commenters will be on that wavelength. Outside of that, I guess I wanted to voice a couple of my frustrations, and but also let this be a glowing recommendation of Stalker 2. It really is good. I wouldn't struggle with it if I didn't enjoy it. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. It's fantastic. And if you don't like Stalker 2, you always have the option of downloading many of the overhaul mods for the previous Stalker iterations that are basically all standalone now. You can almost like just download whatever version you want and play it. I really highly recommend still True Stalker. It's a very good standalone Stalker experience if you're looking for one. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, definitely hit the like button, consider subscribing for more content like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.